everybody. Welcome back to week 5 of Coulda Been D1. And we had another bullshit weekend. But before I get into that, I have some troubling news. Napoleon was stabbed in a Miami Beach nightclub, and he is in critical condition. He will not be here this week, but he did want to say a few things. And he said this while he was bleeding out. So here's a direct quote from him directly after being stabbed.
Napoleon couldn't get me the voice memo due to his stab wounds. Sorry, guys.
All right. He had some words to say. Now I also have some words to say. And Matt LaFleur, buddy, you didn't make a good case for yourself. Your are really hanging by a thread if they're not already. You're really pissing me off now. I actually have a rant about the whole team this week. Most of it is centered around Matt LaFleur, but I have a rant this week, and the theme of this week's rant is the word tie. Now, the word tie has several meanings, and I will kind of touch on all of those today in this rant. So, number one, to start off with, I'm going to ask, why the fuck are there ties in the NFL? You're going to go and send 22 men every single play to attack each other as violently as possible for 70 minutes straight, and then decide that the game can end in a tie. I understand it's the regular season, but the NBA doesn't do that. The MLB doesn't do that. The WNBA doesn't do that. Golf doesn't do that. What sport ends in ties? Soccer. Pussy ass sport. So, it's kind of my point. We got grown men running around and smacking each other all game for the game to end in a tie. And speaking of ties, what kind of ties does Matt LaFleur have with Al Qaeda? Because again, Matt, you're a fucking terrorist. And you're pissing me off. And your are mine. They're getting. Why don't you just trust your quarterback to make a play late in the game? I don't understand. Fuck you. Next, my question is, did our defense have their shoes tied together all game long? Because they couldn't fucking get a stop. Our D-backs suck. They got tied up with each other and couldn't get a fucking tackle. George Pickens ate our ass. And I'm really not over it. Jeff Halfley, you're still in the cool. You're a cool guy. The rest of the defenders, specifically Keyshawn Nixon, who looked like he was tied up in the end zone when he let Jalen Tolbert catch that ball at the 4 yard line in overtime. Fuck you. And now, lastly, I have a question for Rich Basakia. So, Rich, when you tie your tie in the morning and look at yourself in the mirror, what do you see? Do you see a man or do you see a giant? Because you can't fucking play. You can't call plays. You're terrible. You've been terrible since we had you, and I don't know why Matt LaFleur keeps you around. I get it. You're a good guy. Fuck you. You're gone. I can't stand you. All right, that is my tie themed rant for today. Yeah, the Packers really pissed me off. I spent a lot of money to go to Dallas to watch the game, and great game. Roger Goodell, you were cooking for most of the game, and then you kind of fucked up on the most pivotal part of the game, which was the ending when you allowed for a tie. So, really kind of bullshit, but we're going to move on. All right, CBFF faithful. You guys had some great questions this week. I'm going to get into them right now. We appreciate the engagement. We have our boy Pedro back, Mr. Pedro de Sac, back in the chat asking us questions, and we really appreciate it. So, first thing he's asking is he said a couple things this week. First, can we get an analysis of LaFleur clock management at the end of OT from the weatherman? And secondly, is God going to keep pounding Panthers fans' buttholes forever? And can the cokehead turn around the Panthers or my 1-3 fantasy team? I'm gonna get into the Matt LaFleur stuff in a second. A lot of people don't know that Pedro and I share a fantasy league. The league he is talking about is the one we're in together, the one he's 1-3 in. And his team's dog shit, and the Cokeheads can't even turn around your absolute dog shit program you're running over there. With that said, actually, with that said, they're not changing anything. Jalen Coker is going to end up with another hamstring injury or a quad injury or whatever. the Panthers are terrible, and until they fire David Trepper, I mean that program's in hell. But to answer your question about Matt LaFleur, you know what it boils down to is the guy doesn't trust Jordan Love. The guy has no idea. He's never played Madden in his life. He doesn't know how to use his timeouts. He doesn't know how to push the ball down the field. And this has been a problem that dates back several years since the beginning of time, since he's been the Packers head coach. I went through my own tweets the other day with the keywords Matt LaFleur just to look up what I've said over the years and years ago. We're still talking about how this guy has no idea how to use his timeouts and manage the clock. And then, yeah, see, you're really getting me worked up right now when I start doing those deep breaths. But he'll go into the press conference after every single game and say, "We have to be better. We just have to be better." All right, Matt LaFleur, it's time. How about you fucking start being better then, dickhead? Make it work. Make it happen. You suck. I want you fired. Okay? I was gonna get a little more vulgar than that, a little more violent, but you know what? I'll just keep it simple. I need you fired. Fuck you. All right, thank you, Pedro. We appreciate the question. Next question we have from Joe Schmo. Shout out to Big Joe. Joe's always in the comments asking us good questions. He's got a little sad one this week for us. He said, as a Ravens fan, do I cut ties from this earth now or give it a few weeks? Unfortunately, Joe, in a few weeks, your team is probably going to have a worse record because Lamar's going to be out. So just save yourself, just save yourself. Cut ties now. Make it just end it. Be easier that way. But for real, I still actually do think the Ravens will make the playoffs. They're going to rattle off a bunch of wins. They definitely need to win a couple of these games while Lamar's out. But wow, is that a pathetic program? I'm not sure there's a worse defense in football. Yeah, it's a tough watch. They're absolutely brutal. But Joe, hang in there. Come on, Joe. We need you. It'll get better. It won't. It's fucking Jover. All right, next we have a question from Invictus Testosterone. I bring this up a little later as well, but he asked, Jalen Hurts was 0 for 8 in the second half on Sunday. He literally had zero passing yards. Can we please get an honest ranking of where he ranks in pure quarterback talent? Not a ranking based on him winning with his super team. I'm talking analyzing, is he a better pure QB than others? And then immediately after that tweet, literally within 2 minutes, I'm not even joking. Invictus sent this tweet at 8:36. Crimson Cleo in Midnight Green, hashtag Go Birds, at 8:38 was replied to the comment and said, now tell us about the first half. Well, the first half was fine. It was great, but you're an NFL quarterback. You kind of need to put it together for two halves. Invictus, I don't think that Jalen Hurts is a pure top 10 QB. Is he a top 10 QB in reality? Yes, he is. His legs do enough for him. He's good enough at 1 yard runs that pad his stats to make him look like he's a top 10 QB. And yeah, they won the Super Bowl. I'm not going to deny. He shows up in the playoffs. That is true. He shows up in the playoffs more than regular QBs. But the guy is absolutely brutal in the regular season. I want AJ Brown to request a trade so bad. I think that would be so rock star if he did that because he deserves the ball. I mean, there's no question about it. Devontae Smith deserves the ball. Their team has a ton of talent, and Jalen Hurts just cannot get them the ball because the guy's dog shit. So, no, he's not top 10 in terms of actual talent and actual runner talent. He's dog shit. Anyways, thanks for the question. We appreciate it. Next, we got a question from Return of the Base God. Shout out to BG. We appreciate your constant support of the program as well. And he asked us a question that I didn't want to have to answer, but he asked us, is the Hawks still with us? And I have some bad news. Everyone take a seat for this one. The Hawk has passed away after the week 4 Weather Hawk play failed to hit. The Hawk just couldn't battle his wounds, and also we couldn't pay for the medical tab because we kind of put all the money into the parlay. So unfortunately, Hawk is no longer with us. He is with us in spirit. He is with us in soul, but you will not hear a peep from him for a while. We're looking at methods to bring him back from the grave, but until we have those, the Hawk is gone, and it's a very sad day. Hawk, we miss you.
We were at the we were burying him, and we put this shit hitting on his tombstone to let everyone know. From the grave, Hawk, we love you. All right, moving on. We got James Richter asking a good question. He says, "Can we re-examinate Drake London?" Uh, Not gonna lie, I'm gonna keep this one a whole 100, a whole 100, as the kids would say, 92 plus 8, as Drake would say. Didn't watch a fucking second of that Falcons game. I have no idea how he looked. He got 100 yards though, so shout out to Drake London. You're still a bisexual wide receiver, but hey, he had a good game. Good for you. Are you better than Tet though? I don't think so. But you got 100 yards, so shout out to you and shout out to Michael Penix. Showed up big time this week as well. Falcons are moving in the right direction. It's good to see. That is all the questions we have this week. We appreciate you guys, though. We had a few more from Pedro and Optimus Slime. We're gonna get into those next week after Napoleon fights his battle with his wounds, and we'll get back to this. But we have some stuff we'll discuss next week. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate the questions. Thank you so much. And we are going to move over to the recap of last week. Thanks, guys.
All right, moving over to the recap for the week. Again, we're going to take this one question at a time. Fortunately, again, like I said, Napoleon cannot be here as he is still recovering in the hospital from his stab wounds. He had a night out in Miami and it was got pretty hectic. So we're going to start with the Cardinals versus the Seahawks. And my question is Marv back? And I'm thinking that he is because the game started and it still seemed like he didn't know, like the brain, the neurons didn't quite reach his fingertips and he couldn't really catch the ball. And then all of a sudden he's just mossing dudes and making play after play. So, yeah, I think Marv lost the entire NFL community and then kind of brought them all back in at the end of the game. So that was a good thing to see. It was a good watch. That game was good. And also as a Zach Charbonnet owner, in fantasy. I just can't believe they play that guy over Kenneth Walker. He's so much worse. All right, moving on to Steelers versus Vikings. I had a question for, kind of like a scenario question. It's if Carson Wentz started the entire season for the Miami Dolphins, how many games would they win? And, you can't really get much worse than brain rot Tua. But if I were to guess, I think Carson Wentz could get like 4 wins. You can always beat the Jets. I think they got the Panthers on their schedule. They can probably beat them, which means they also have the Saints. So honestly, they could probably win 4 games. If you put them on the Chiefs, I think you win about 5 games. And that's about it for Carson Wentz. The guy's dog shit still to this day, which I think a lot of people knew. Moving on to Bucks versus Eagles. My question is, do Eagles fans spend all day on Twitter just looking up the keywords Jalen Hurts? Uh, we had a question from Invictus Testosterone about the Eagles, as you heard earlier, and within minutes, there was a random Eagles fan that somehow found the tweet. Neither Invictus or the Could Have Been D1 pod has a lot of followers on Twitter, so how would they have found that? They must be researching Jalen Hurts just all day long to talk shit and defend him with all their might. Kind of respect it. I'd do the same thing with LeBron, but the difference is LeBron is generational. Jalen Hurts is a counterpart to the rest of his team that carries him. All right, moving on to Giants versus Chargers. And my question is, does Jackson Dart have the Giants so back? And it really looks like he might because he was kind of electric. The stuff about Malik Neighbors is heartbreaking. It really is. You hate to see a guy like that go down. There's a lot of injuries this weekend. A lot of dudes getting put on IR, and he's one of the saddest ones because the dude's absolutely electric. And there's no better D1 D or there's no better diva receiver in the league than Malik Neighbors. That guy loves having the ball in his hands, and you got to respect that. Now, for the Giants, I think they might be back. I think this team could be back on track to make the playoffs. It's going to take a lot. It's not going to be easy, but I think their defense is good enough, and Jackson Dart plays maybe clean enough football for that to happen. So, my take about the Giants preseason could still be alive. Next, we got Pats versus Panthers, and my question is, has Dave Canales been watching too much porn again? For those who don't know, he wrote a whole book about basically having desires to cheat on his wife and watching a bunch of porn. So, guy's kind of a maniac. I guess he's figured it out, but you know what he hasn't figured out is coaching the Carolina Panthers. The guy's dog shit. The team's dog shit. This team has no hope. Now, if Napoleon could speak, he would probably have some counter arguments to this, but he's still recovering from his stab wound. So, no argument this week. Moving on to Texans versus Titans, and at what point in the season does Callahan get fired, and will he be first? I think the answer is yes. That team is pathetic, and with Cam Ward being a rookie, I think they're just going to want to clean house and get him out of there as soon as possible. The guy coaches a absolutely dog shit team. In his defense, there's no talent on that roster besides Cam Ward, but you know, you'd think he could at least get a win. I think that team wins 2 to 3 games maximum this year, if even. All right, moving on to Lions versus Browns. And I hate to get a little political on society here, but I'm starting to think that is it racist the Browns are starting Dylan Gabriel over Shadur Sanders? This was a hot topic preseason. Was it racist when they started Joe Flacco? Shadur Sanders just pulled that hilarious mime skit on with reporters, which I thought was hilarious because anything they'll say, they're gonna twist his words. So he went with the mime act, and you gotta just respect that, and you gotta love that out of him. So is it racist? I'm just gonna say, yeah. Honestly, I like starting controversy. Let's make it happen. Sure. Dylan Gabriel, how many starts does he have? Because I don't think it's gonna be the whole season. So we're gonna chalk that one up to race. All right, moving on to Bills versus Saints. When will the media give James Cook credit instead of giving it all to Josh Allen, who they have a crush on? And I get it. He's a superhero, probably chillest dude in the league, superstar wife. But James Cook is an absolute monster. He's had 100 yards in every single game, 100 total scrimmage yards, and the guy is just electric out there. I think he's better than Dalvin Cook was in his prime. The Bills are a fun team and somehow the Saints kind of kept this close. So that was a good game. All right, moving over to Falcons versus Saints, and I just kind of have a question here for the crowd, and it's what players if I said the names Jamar Chase, Nico Collins, Trey McBride, CeeDee Lamb, and Drake London, who would you say has more yards than them? Who's the most random player you could think of? The answer is Bijan Robinson, who is a running back, who is now out leading his teammate Drake London in receiving yards, as well as those other four superstar players. Bijan is an absolute dog. Kind of regret not taking him first overall in my league. Anyways, Bijan Robinson's a dog. The guy can make any play. He's the shiftiest dude in the league, and he kind of reminds me of Reggie Bush in college. Moving over to Jags versus 49ers, and my question is kind of tying back to Matt LaFleur earlier in the episode. Does this 49ers strength and training team have ties to the violent Middle East? Because I have never seen a team deal with injury after injury, season after season, like the San Francisco 49ers. It's absolutely unbelievable what is going on with that franchise. Whoever cursed them, honestly, shout out to you. I fucking hate the 49ers, so I'm not like super mad at it, but I actually do kind of feel bad for the players who get hurt literally every single game. So that's a shame. Moving over to Rams versus Colts, and my question is it time to call Puka the wide receiver one in the entire league? That guy is phenomenal at every facet of the game. He catches every ball. He trucks dudes. He scores touchdowns. He's got great hair, and overall, he's a LeBron dick rider. So he's good in my books. You're always good in my books if you do that. So I think it's time for Puka to enter these conversations. You could argue it's still Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson, but I think Puka's right there, and within the next couple seasons it'll be inevitable that he's consistently on this list. So shout out to Puka. Next, I have Raiders versus the Bears. And my question is, does Geno Smith even know what color his team is wearing on game days? Because he's constantly throwing to the wrong one. This is his second game this year, this Bears game, where he threw 3 picks in one game. It's been 4 games, and he has 2 games with 3 picks. Sit his ass down. He's ass. Or just get his eyes checked. I don't know. The guy's clearly fucking blind. Get him off my TV, though. He's awful. All right, moving over to Ravens versus Chiefs, and some tough stuff with the Ravens. But the real question is, has everyone accepted the fact that the Chiefs are going back to the Super Bowl and probably winning it? The Chiefs are inevitable. What can I say? They're at like 80% health right now. They're going to get their wide receiver one back, and they're 2-2. This team is going nowhere, and they're going to be right back in the Super Bowl this year. Pretty simple. All right. Next, I have Packers versus Cowboys, and talked about it earlier. But what the fuck was the committee thinking when they decided that in overtime they'll give both teams the ball yet decrease the time limit? That makes no fucking sense. So we had 15 minutes, but only one team could score and the game would end. But now we only have 10 minutes and both teams get the ball. Who made that call? Who made that decision? Makes no sense. Literally so counterintuitive. The dumbest rule ever. It would have benefited the Packers, sure, but this just goes for any game. Why are you giving both teams the ball and then taking 5 minutes off the clock? Doesn't make any fucking sense. Roger Goodell and the committee figure this shit out and figure out the tush push. Everything's just going to hell in this league, and we need to clean it up. All right, next we got Dolphins versus Jets, and my question is everyone, even Tyreek Hill himself, happy that Tyreek Hill got hurt? He was literally clapping and had the brightest smile on his face, leaving the field on the cart. Tua didn't seem to show any remorse. Mike McDaniels looked happy. I think this might be the best thing that's ever happened to the Dolphins and Tyreek because Tyreek knows that his ass is gone and the Dolphins don't have to worry about him anymore. So honestly, I think the Dolphins' future just got actually better somehow. So I hope he does well. Dislocating your knee is about the craziest shit I've ever heard in my life. His whole knee probably looks like what Matt LaFleur's ball sack is going to look like when I hang it. And yeah, so Dolphins heading in the right direction. Jets, don't even know what to say about you guys. You're just a tortured fan base. And lastly, we have the Broncos versus Redacted. And as you guys know, we're legally not allowed to talk about this game, and we will not be talking about this game. So until that guy on the Giants depth chart gets traded over to that city of, we will not talk about this game. So, all right, now we're going to move to the picks for this week. Thank you.
All right, everybody, a bit of a new segment here because I am doing this alone this week. We're going to do the quarter year. It's been 4 weeks. There's 72 in the NFL season, so we're going to do the quarter update of QBs in the league. This will be on the YouTube so you can watch it. It'll actually be on the Spotify so you can watch it as well. But we're going to get into this, and yeah, I hope this is like a fun thing we do. We'll see. We'll do this, I guess, every quarter of the year, every 4 weeks, and then ultimately at the end of the year. And this is how we rank which QBs can date Napoleon's daughter every single week. So shout out to the tier maker. I'm sure you guys have all done your own at some point in your life. But anyway, here's we go. We got the list of the QBs, the shitters, the good guys, the bad guys, and everyone in between, even Shadur, who is now a mime. So let's just start top left. We got Lamar Jackson, who is now injured. Should be an injured tier, but there's no question about it. The guy is still elite. And don't ever think that he's not, because he is. Next we got Cooper Rush, backup, gives a fuck. Josh Allen, same thing. Don't ever question it. The guy's elite. Okay, very simple, very easy. Next we got, bro, who gives a fuck? Backup. I'm gonna cut this. We're gonna get to the backups. Rapist. Okay, he needs his own rape tier. Hold on, let's make that real quick. We're gonna add that tier real quick. Give me a second. Let's see. What is that? Blue? We'll go with fucking purple. Sure. Okay, just not what I wanted, but that's fine. We're gonna go with the really bad guy tier, and we're gonna put Deshaun Watson there. So there you go. Actually, let's make that red. Yeah, that guy's fucking terrible. We have the actual starting quarterback list once and for all 32 starters in the league, barring injury, but I don't know if anyone's really gotten hurt this year besides JJ McCarthy, but he'll be the starter when he comes back. So we got the list. We got ranked by NFC, AFC, whatever. So here we go. Jordan Love, my Pookie Bear, my little baby girl, my beautiful man. Fortunately, you're not in tier one, but you are in tier two. And I don't think that should be a hot take. He's slinging that thing. Love him. Jared Goff, we're going to put you in tier three. You're a pretty good quarterback, pretty serviceable, play for literally the greatest offense of all time. So Your job is about as easy as it gets. JJ McCarthy, we know nothing about you. You're not the worst, but you're really bad. So you're in tier six for now. Caleb Williams starting to put it together. He's been very good. We're going to put Caleb Williams in tier four. I think he's still below Jared Goff, but I don't think he is anywhere near the bottom. He's like a very average QB as of right now, but sadly, unfortunately, a lot of potential. Jalen Hurts, this is going to catch a lot of slack. All right, I can't put him below Jared Goff, but yeah, you're tier three. You do nothing for your team. That's not true. This is just me. I'm just talking out of my ass. But like I said, Jalen Hurts is a product of the people around him. He has some of the greatest teammates of all time, the best O line. Like the guy is not that impressive. He just won a game without completing a pass in the second half. So all right, next we got Jane Daniels. Jane Daniels is a absolute rock star. The guy's unreal. I think he's top five still, and he's tier one. Yeah, I don't know. Hot take, don't care. Guy's insane. Dak is really starting to come together this year. I'm gonna put him above Jalen Hurts. This is kind of wild. Maybe this is recency bias. It probably is, but his defense is so ass, and he somehow still keeps his team in the game most of the time. So we're gonna put Dak in tier two. I think he's like borderline top 10 this year. Russell Wilson, you're utter dog shit. You're actually the worst quarterback in the league. You're terrible. Terrible. You're tier seven. Baker Mayfield, absolute dog, tier two. I think he's probably above Jordan Love, but I don't think he's on tier one yet. By the end of the year, he might be, but he's definitely tier two. I think he's like top seven QB. Jordan Love's like top eight, top 10, something like that. So Baker's right there with him. Bryce Young, man, if Napoleon could breathe right now, he wouldn't like this, but Bryce Young is shit. Is he worse than JJ McCarthy? No, he's not. So we'll put him tier five. Michael Penix, kind of the same thing, kind of mid for now. I think he's been worse than Caleb. Not terrible, definitely not the worst QB in the league, probably in like the 20th range, 25 maybe. So I think he belongs about right there. Spencer Rattler, actually not that bad, but he hasn't won a game, so I would have trouble putting him at tier five. But yeah, he'll have a good career as a backup, no question about it. Stafford, that guy has been slinging the rock this year. We're gonna put him at tier two. Yeah, still don't think he's tier one. I think that's reserves for a special level of talent. But if I could rank it, it would be something like this. It would look something like that. Next, we have Kyler Murray. Yeah, you're tier five. You're just so mid. Yeah, we'll leave it there. Sam Darnold, good QB, solid QB. Above Caleb. I think he's below Jared Goff. No, actually, fuck that. You're tier three. Guy throws a good ball. He really does. I was wrong about him. He's a solid player. Mac Jones, this should be Brock Purdy. Let's all act like this is Brock Purdy, and if it was Brock Purdy, he'd be tier four. So this is Brock Purdy, everybody. Just remember that's Brock Purdy. Next, we got Lamar, tier one, no question about it. Joe Burrow, same thing. And the worse his team plays, which we're not allowed to talk about it, but he would be still slinging it, still tier one. Poor guy, poor shit ass team. Joe Flacco, your ass, unfortunately, but you're not Russell Wilson ass. You're like 30th ranked QB, I'd put you. Aaron Rodgers at this point, sadly, you're like tier four. I still think you're better. Those PFF grades that have him ranked so low, fuck those. That they're not true. That literally is just not true. How is a 3-1 quarterback on a relatively mid team the worst QB in the league? Give me a fucking break. There's no shot. So I think he's tier four at this point. Tua, man, yeah, no, he's tier six. He's some ass. He's been saying some things in the media too. I'm starting to actually get concerned about him. I don't think he's like completely there with us. So I actually feel bad for him. Josh Allen, no question about it. Tier five, no, I'm just kidding. He's tier one. Everyone knows that. Come on. Drake May, solid QB, tier four. Like he's right there with the rest of these guys with Brock Purdy. Justin Fields, I'm gonna put him in tier five. I don't. This is maybe a hot take because they're never gonna win a game. Just kidding. They'll win like three. But there's no way he's as bad as these guys. I think he fits right in this tier. I think he's literally just Kyler Murray on the Jets. So you put Justin Fields on the Cardinals, I think you get the exact same result you get with Kyler Murray, maybe even better. So that's my take. Next, we got T Law. Ugh, God, you're tier five, dude. I can't fucking stand watching you. You're just ugly. I don't like that. All right, next we got CJ Stroud. This guy sucks. So ass. You're not like mega ass. Is he mega ass? No, he's probably just, yeah. We're moving him. He's tier five. He's literally that bad. Like he's that bad. Daniel Jones, elite. Don't care what anyone says. He's tier three. He's been that good this season. He literally has been that good. He's tier three. I don't care what you say. Cam Ward. I'm not gonna put you tier five until you win a game. You're in like tier six, but you're eligible for tier four after like one good start. Mahomes still the best QB in the league. Again, really don't care what anyone says. The guy is inevitable, and they're making the Super Bowl. So sorry, guys, it's happening. Justin Herbert, until you win a playoff game, I am not allowed to put you top five. I'm literally just not allowed to. But you're the peak of tier two. You and Matt Stafford are the peak of tier two. Bo Nix, I think he's like the end of tier three, maybe just before tier four. Yeah, the guy is like he's pretty good, but he's certainly not top 10. And if he's ever in those conversations, defriend those people. And lastly, Geno Smith. Geno Smith is in the Russell Wilson tier. That guy sucks so bad. I can't stand watching him. He is the most 1 year wonder QB ever. There's a reason he was out of the league for like 5 years. It's because he sucks ass. He sucks ass. All right, that's my tier rankings. I'm gonna post this screenshot onto Twitter. I'm gonna let me hear your guys' thoughts. I want to hear what you guys got to say about my list. And yeah, this was fun to put together. We'll do this every quarter. When I get Napoleon, we'll update this. We'll have it updated. It'll be good. But yeah, a little new segment. Appreciate it. Let me hear your thoughts. Thanks, guys. All right, guys. I hope that you have made it this far into the episode. There's probably like three people listening at this point, and that's all right. We appreciate all three of you. This will be the picks this week. I'm gonna do a little bit different thing. This will basically come back and bite me in the ass because everyone knows I'm a horrific gambler. But I'm gonna look through the list of games this week and pick the spreads that I love the most and pick the spreads that I hate the most. And I'm gonna end up being probably way off on all my picks, and it'll be kind of funny to watch. So here we go, week five, NFL season. We're into week five already. It's already October. Holy fuck. It's almost over. All right, first we got San Fran at Los Angeles on Thursday night. We got the 49ers going to the Rams. Rams are minus 8.5, and I do believe that they cover. I wouldn't put this in my love. This is just like a regular game to me. Um, yeah, I like the Rams to cover 9 points. I think they win by 10, maybe 14. The 49ers are limping through each week, and they made them play Thursday night, so kind of fucked up. But next, we got Minnesota at Cleveland. Minnesota is minus 3.5, and I am going to make the Cleveland Browns plus 3.5 in my love tier. I think I love that play. I don't know why. Dylan Gabriel's probably going to provide somewhat of a spark. Their offense is still like kind of decent. They have talent. Their defense is insane. The Vikings defense is also really good, but Carson Wentz, to me, I think he's going to have just an awful day. And yeah, I'm gonna put the Browns plus 3.5 in my love it play tier this week. It's gonna end up being wrong, and that's okay. All right, moving on. We got the Raiders going to Indianapolis. Indianapolis is minus 6.5, and as long as Geno Smith is the quarterback of the Raiders, I will never bet on them again. That guy sucks ass. I'm gonna take Colts minus 6.5. I think their team is still built. I think Jonathan Taylor might run for 900 yards this week. Um, I'm not gonna put this in my love it tier, but I do like the Colts minus 6.5 this week at home versus the bum ass Raiders with a bum ass QB. All right, next we got the Giants going to New Orleans. Wow, turn your TV off. This game is awful. Tickets as low as $25. Yeah, you could literally just probably walk into this game. They wouldn't even stop you. Anyways, the Saints are -1.5. I am going to take the Giants +1.5. I think that their defense is still good to keep them in every game, and Jackson Dart looks pretty solid. They just beat Chargers. That was at home, but I don't think the Saints' home field advantage is really going to matter much right now. It's not Drew Brees back there anymore. It's Spencer Rattler. So, and I got respect for Spencer Rattler. He's actually not bad, but I'm going to take the Giants +1.5. All right, next we got Dallas going to New York, and we have Dallas -2.5. Over under is 47.5. I'm gonna switch this one up a little bit. First of all, I'm gonna take Dallas -2.5 because I think they're the better team, and the Jets are just ass. But I'm gonna put the over under in the I love it tier. I love over 47.5 in this game. I think both defenses are awful and both offenses are actually pretty decent. So this is the over 47.5 is going in my I love it tier for this week. Now that I'm thinking about this, is there going to be anything in my I hate it tier? Because isn't the opposite of I hate it, I love it? Yeah, I guess the graphic will just be the I love it plays and then the opposite. So we'll see if I'm just ass or not. So that'll probably be what happens. All right, next we got Denver going to Philly. Philly's -3.5, and I'm gonna put the Philly -3.5 in the I love it tier because I am just not really that moved by the Broncos, and the Philadelphia Eagles are elite. So I'm gonna put Philly -3.5 in the I love it tier, and yeah, I think they run away with this one like they do every single game. So their team is OP and their quarterback is DS, which means dog shit. Moving on, we got the Dolphins going to Carolina. Miami is -1.5. Wow, this is a kind of a tough one, I'm not gonna lie. First game without Tyreek. I think vibes are gonna be high. They're coming off a win. I'm gonna take Miami -1.5. Yeah, I think vibes are gonna be good. Achan is probably gonna score 2 touchdowns, and yeah, I like Miami to cover this game. Next, we got Houston at Baltimore. Houston is -1.5. I understand Lamar's out, but I also understand that Derrick Henry is still on the team. I think the Ravens actually somehow win this game. I'm going to take Ravens +1.5. This is nowhere near. You know what? Fuck it. I'll put this in the I hate it tier. I'm going to take Ravens +1.5, but I hate it. So there's the I hate it game of the week. We got Tennessee next. We got Tennessee going to Arizona. Arizona is -7.5. And I am going to, they are missing both their running backs. Their defense really isn't that good. The Titans aren't also good at all. This is kind of a tough one. I'm going to go ahead and just take Tennessee +7.5. They're on my ban list. I'm gonna take that back. We're gonna take Arizona -7.5. I forgot they're on my ban list, so we're gonna go ahead and take Cardinals -7.5 at home, even without any running backs at all. All right, we got a good game in the another good game in the 3 p.m. slot. We got Tampa Bay going to Seattle. Seattle's -3.5. Tampa Bay's dealing with injuries, but I still think that they're gonna make this game fun. And I believe they will cover +3.5 this weekend in Seattle. So I feel like Baker's always gonna find a way to get it done, and that's gonna reign true this week as well. So Tampa +3.5. Not an I love it game, not an I hate it game, just a whatever the fuck game. So, and next we have a game that was supposed to be really fun. We have Detroit going to, again, guys, I'm not allowed to talk about this game. So I have to skip it, unfortunately. But if I was, let's just say the team that doesn't have the quarterback they need, that's just where I'm gonna leave it because I'm not allowed to talk about it. Hope you guys can respect my decision in this hour. All right, next we got Washington going to the Chargers. LA is -2.5. Jane Daniels is back. Deebo Samuel might be out. Terry McLaurin is probably out. I think the Chargers are also missing Joe All, which is actually tough. I'm gonna go ahead and take Washington +2.5. but this is going to be an I hate it play because I really just have no idea. And I'm a little bit of a Jane Daniels dick writer. Okay, I'll admit it. I am. I'm gonna take the Commanders plus 2.5, and it's going in my I hate it game of the week. So, and actually, no, I was almost gonna do it. I was almost gonna talk about it. I'm not gonna talk about it. There's a game I want to talk about. The game before it, not gonna talk about it. Guys just have to respect me at this time. All right, next we have the Patriots going to Buffalo on Sunday night. Buffalo is minus 7.5, and I am going to take Buffalo minus 7.5 because I am just not moved by the Pats. They just don't move me. I think Drake May is good, and I just think the rest of their team is mid as fuck. So sorry about it, but I'm going with the Bills minus 7.5 at home. Nothing about this game I love, nothing about it I hate, but that'll just be the play. And on Monday night, we have the Kansas City Chiefs going to Jacksonville. Kansas City is minus 3.5, and Kansas City will be covering that. And as long as Trevor Lawrence is the quarterback for the Jaguars and Patrick Mahomes is the quarterback for the Chiefs, it's going to go in my I love it tier. I do. I also love the over in this game. It's 46.5. So both the Chiefs minus 3.5 and the over in this game are going in my I love it tier for this week. So 46.5 minus 3.5 to join those other plays from before. Guys, I know this is a little bit of a rougher episode when your co-host isn't here, suffering from stab wounds. You just got to respect us at this hour. He wanted to be here. Unfortunately, he was clubbing too late in Miami, and shit just went wrong. So we appreciate you guys listening. We always appreciate the engagement, and thank you guys so much. Just hope you enjoyed this episode. Napoleon hopefully will be recovering next week, and we'll be back for a real show. So appreciate it, guys. Thank you so much, and have a great weekend.